chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from West St. Paul Studios, it's time for MinneZona Sports Live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, episode 257. Yes, 257 episodes. We are back. We got a lot to talk about, so without further ado, I am your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way in St. Cloud, Minnesota, in Granite City Studios, Paul Vold, Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
You know, this week has been a little bit of a rocky start, and I would just like to think that life would find a way to counterbalance itself and make things a little bit better. I mean, I woke up on time every day this week to go to work, but I ended up losing my earbuds. I broke my keychain at work, but just when you thought it couldn't get much worse, it actually gets a little bit better. My play call from the Granite City Lumberjacks over the weekend, number one play in NA3HL plays of the week. So pretty happy about that. But it was for the other team, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. So I guess I'm feeling a little bit better about that. Just watched it literally seconds before we got on the air. So feeling pretty good about myself.
Hey, might as well. You got to love that. And, you know, if you're number one on the top playlist, hey, you know, you're doing something right.
Yes, sir.
Voldy, a lot to talk about tonight. Tater Tot Hot Take is just filled with hot takes, and one of those being the Minnesota Vikings losing to those damn Philadelphia Eagles, 28-22. Yes, on the booze. Yeah, I know. Trust me, there's a lot to talk about tonight. I got a lot to get off my chest, especially with that. But short week. Vikings play tomorrow night in Los Angeles against the Chargers. We'll talk about that game a little bit as well. And as you can see here, Wolves back. Wolves are back. And as Ant would like to say and will probably say tonight,
Bring your ass.
bring your ass. Bring your ass. Let's go. They play Portland. They play in Portland tonight, and it'll be, you know, Portland's not
It'll be a late
great.
one.
It'll be a late one, and I was complaining about that before the show. Voldy knows it's ridiculous. I've got some takes. I got a little bit of hot takes for that specifically for the Wolves starting their season. So keep in tune with that. I got a lot to say with that. And with that, I got a lot to say about the quarterback who will not be playing tomorrow. I was about to say next week. And I've seen a lot of zoners and or Vikings fans and national media, blah, 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 just talk about how this situation is completely screwed up and we should be freaking out. I'm here to tell you there's a plan. There's a plan. That's all I got to say. So more on that for School Logic about the jjmccarthy development plan. It is a jam-packed absurd approved this week. Oh my gosh. The Dodgers, favored in the World Series versus Toronto. Voldy, I mean, just looking at you, I pretty much already know what's going on with you. I think you're leaning one way there, which, you know, I don't necessarily disagree with. I like it. So we'll talk about that to start things off. And then after, Florida fires Billy Napier.
There you go.
The big news in college football. I'm sure Hunt's is throwing stuff and breaking stuff and just wondering why this didn't work and whatnot. But, we got that going. And the recent news, I think it was yesterday, Sean Payton calling out Russell Wilson.
Just for you, Matt. I wanted to hear your 2 cents on it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure people would love to hear my 2 cents on this. I'm glad you put that in there. Russell Wilson especially had enough, and quite frankly, I've had enough for a while. But we will talk about that. Brandon Graham unretires, rejoins the Eagles, looking for a little bit more of a veteran presence. He's back with the Eagles, and we'll see see how the leadership goes. I don't get it. And then to round things off, Kevindurant and the Rockets agree to an extension. He's already wanting to stay in Houston, and he didn't want to join the Wolves, unfortunately. But that is what it is. We'll talk about it. And then to end things off for the show, Shield shoutouts. We got some Shield shoutouts to get to tonight. So, Voldy, let's not waste any more time. Let's get it going with some Tater Tot. Wait. I'm sorry. I almost forgot. We got to do leaderboard here for Pick'em.
Oh,
guys,
right.
Get your picks in. Get those picks in as soon as possible. Voldy, unfortunately, you can't ask me the question that you've asked me these past couple weeks.
That's all right.
But I will say that Stuffage, Nathaniel Struffert, is in first place with 730 points. He leads the way, but just behind him is our guy, R.J. Wilson. He wins the Pick'em this week. Congratulations to R.J. for winning this week. He has decided to go with another tumbler. So we still have the winter caps, and if you guys want it or if you guys want to win it, we got that going for us here too. And then just after RJ, it is the guy that is wearing the Blue Jays stuff right there. That is Paul Vold, the Shield. Voldy, you're not down by a lot. I mean, you're very much still in this. You're very much still in this.
I am.
So you're in good shape. Are we giving something away? We said that, right?
Yeah, we kind of made a split last-second decision just before the show started. Why not give away one of these right here? One of the original shirts. That's right. MinneZona Sports Live dry fit shirt here, of course, on the back. Still has the Facebook Live logo, which is applicable to nowadays because we're back on Facebook, so that's good to have there. So, yeah, we're going to be giving away this guy here. Not really sure on sizes. I think we got like medium, large left. That's about it. So some of those smaller framed people, this is your week. This is your chance.
I'm looking at you, Rick. I'm looking at you. So let's get those picks in as soon as possible, and keep it going, guys. You guys are doing great. This has been really fun. Make sure that you get the Thursday night game in, and all. You know what? Just get them done right now. Get them done right now. Put us up on the corner of your screen, on your computer, on your phone, whatever. I mean, you do what you got to do. So, with that being said, now let's get to some Tater Tot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, it is time for some Tater Tot Hot Take. We start things off tonight a little bit of a sour note. You know what? No, a frustrating note. Let's go with that because it was frustrating. The Minnesota Vikings losing to those Philadelphia Eagles this past Sunday. It sucked. I mean, to be completely honest with you, the Vikings weren't good in the red zone. I mean, that was the story of the game. The Vikings are down in the red zone. Blake Brandel just absolutely takes a moonshot over Carson Wentz's head. Vikings somehow stay in field goal position, and Will the Thrill has been fantastic. He was probably the MVP of the game. Carson Wentz, not so great. I think there were a lot of missed throws. Overthrows, underthrows, interceptions, his second interception especially. I think it solidifies that we need our rookie, or second, I mean, technically he is, jjmccarthy in there. That's just my opinion. You guys can put it out in the chat on your thoughts on the game and everything like that. But the Vikings end up losing to the Philadelphia Eagles 28-22. Now, this wasn't a situation where I thought, Voldy, that the Vikings were going to get crushed. To be completely honest, I think they could keep up with them. And they did, for the most part. I thought defensively we got to get to the quarterback a little bit more. I thought we did really good against the run game.
Yep.
The bad part about it is that we did not do good against the pass game. So, Voldy, why don't you give me your overall thoughts of the game? Just tell me what you're thinking. What do you got?
This game was as much of a trap game for the Eagles as it was anything going up against the Vikings, because everybody already knew, okay, well, they can at least run the ball. They're not going to throw the ball. They're going to stuff it down your throat, even if it's not working. And lo and behold, Jalen Hurts, only 4 incompletions, 326 yards, and 3 touchdowns, when only 2 of his receivers combined for over 300 yards receiving. That is a bad investment. And those 2 receivers just so happen to be Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Leave it to A.J. Brown to finally have a breakout performance on the year. And of course, it also happens to be against the Vikings and also the week that I start him on my fantasy team. Yay and nay all at the same time. It wasn't the fact that, you take that out of it. The Vikings did get some stops when they needed. It was the offense that could not reciprocate and get the ball in the end zone. It literally took a gadget play that we got a terrific help on our side to get that call for the touchdown for Jordan Mason. I mean, it was as close as you could possibly get for it, even seeing the ball break the plane of the end zone, even though his knee was down, to even get that call to go through and make it a much more competitive contest at that point, with the Vikings struggling on offense. Wentz, I felt like this contest, he probably put a little bit too much on himself, which led to him doing the hero ball aspect of what we've seen in the past. And we got the full Carson Wentz experience for sure, with him just hucking it down there. Hopefully his receiver makes a play. And sadly, it's the defensive back bringing the ball back. And even a pick 6 from a defensive lineman is really just, the straw that broke the camel's back. Again, this was a frustrating contest, but again, they made it competitive down the stretch. It was just all for naught. He had to get better in the red zone because, especially with now coming into a short week, it's not looking much easier. Jordan Addison had a really nice day. Justin Jefferson had a couple of competitive catches too. I like the fact that, TJ Hawkinson seems to be getting himself a little bit more and more involved in the offense as it's come along. Him and Carson Wentz too. We already know that Jordan Addison's going to be getting the ball more times than not, because him and Wentz have some sort of connection too. Just want to see the defense be able to step things up here, even with a much more interesting matchup here coming up tomorrow night.
Right. And there were a lot of good things. I feel like I'm going to start with that. And I think a lot of the good things were Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison was fantastic. He was absolutely cooking Quinshon Mitchell the whole game. But from his route running to readjusting to the football, especially with Carson Wentz, being erratic as he was throwing the ball. And Justin Jefferson, I thought, played well. I feel like we could have maybe done a little bit more with him. It was unfortunate on the pass in the end zone against Cooper DeJean. It just came down to he tried to bring it into his chest, and his hand happened to be there, and it just kind of came out.
Yeah.
Jets kind of put that on himself and everything like that. And, I just wish we would have run the ball, because I feel like Jordan Mason was doing a lot of good things. And I think KOC finally kind of did that. But when you get down to the red zone in the NFL and you can't put it in the end zone enough times, you're not going to win many games. And that's kind of what happened to the Vikings is they get down there and then something gets screwed up. The Brandell deal. I mean, the holding on him down in the red zone when they threw that short touchdown to Jalen Naylor. I mean, that was a terrible call. I will get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But I look at that and say, okay, you got to change that against the Chargers. Chargers have a good defense, but I feel offensively they struggled last week. But we'll get more into that later. I also thought, our pass defense wasn't great. I feel like, and I don't want to necessarily blame one person on that, and we're going to get to that as well here in regards to Isaiah Rodgers. But I thought defensively we just needed a little bit more push. That's why I think they needed Van Ginkel out there. But the Eagles have a really good offensive line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, even though Lane Johnson was holding Dallas Turner on that the first touchdown. But, again, we'll get to that in a second. But the bad is as clear as day, and we'll talk about it in School of Logic here a little bit more. But Carson Wentz cannot be the starter after Thursday. No matter how he plays, like if he throws for 5 touchdowns and everything like that, and he's just like spot on, I still would lean more towards our guy, jjmccarthy. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But it has been very apparent that we need JJ in there. Carson Wentz says it's run its course already, and we know what to expect. His first interception, I know it was Brandell just getting worked by Jalen Carter, but then again, you're asking a guy who's played his second game at center to take on one of the best interior pass rushers in the NFL. And he got obliterated, but he was staring down Jefferson the whole time, so he was going to be throwing a pick no matter what. So there's a lot of that. The run defense was better. Pass defense, I think we need to be a lot smarter on, but I also know we have to have a pass rush. So the reason why the Vikings lost was the red zone, the attempts or the turnovers and everything like that. But let me get to the poor refereeing that was happening in this game. Let's start with the big one, Voldy. Let's start with the T.J. Hawkinson incomplete pass. You know what? I'm going to let you talk about it first, and I want the zoners to let us know. Would you qualify that as a catch? Because I
don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
What isn't a catch? Yes, the whole surviving the ground thing, but did it really touch the ground? Did it not? Am I breathing correctly? Did I tie my shoes right? I don't know anymore. We do and do not know what a catch is. It's just the simple fact of sometimes you dive for a ball, you bring it in, maybe it moves, maybe it doesn't. But you can't simply turn over the fact that it's a catch. I believe it was a catch, and I've had many a conversation with a few people this week at work, socially, saying that it was and wasn't a catch, and I don't know anymore. Everybody's got a valid argument, and I'm not even sure if my opinion's correct anymore. Can we be mad about it? Sure, but I'm sure on the other side, if it was called a catch and Philadelphia fans, who I could care less about, honestly, would probably say it wasn't a catch. So I don't know. I want to say it was a catch, and obviously it's a difference maker because of the fact that we lost by 6 points, and if we kick the extra point, we win the game, but nobody knows anymore. I don't know what's a catch. I don't know what's happening in this world nowadays. All I know is I'm here. TJ Hawkinson didn't get a touchdown. It kind of worked out well because of the fact that I didn't start on my fantasy team this week. So
there's that.
I'm selfish, okay? Let's be honest. I'm trying to win out here. I had to beat my dad this week in fantasy football.
You're out here to win.
I'm just out here just trying to collect W's. I'm stacking L's though, left and right, like crazy this week. Nonetheless.
So, I'm not going to go and, show like, oh, see, this is where he had it. But the call on the field was touchdown. Now, there was no evidence, really none whatsoever, that said that he didn't catch that ball. Because, quite frankly, you watch that, and of course, if you're the other team, oh, it's not a catch, they got it right. No, I think they got it wrong. And he was told touchdown and everything, and then they have New York come in. And where's New York? On the East Coast, right? Yeah. Yep. East Coast teams seem to get the favor of the calls. Now, not only that, but earlier in the game, Devontae Smith had a pass, which he trapped, by the way, and they called that a catch.
That they did.
So why is that a catch and the one that Hawkinson had wasn't? That makes no sense whatsoever. And then people have been bringing up the Travis Kelce thing. And he had that whole deal, and that was a catch. It's very interesting because it seems like these big market teams like the Chiefs, like the Eagles, keep getting these calls. And the Minnesota Vikings, again, to your point, your point since we've started the show, even back to the Sports Zone show, is that the national media hates Minnesota. It's that simple. They hate Minnesota. There's evidence on every single freaking bad thing that has happened to Minnesotans. You look at the Lynx, the whole deal with the Liberty. You look at the Timberwolves, the whole deal with SGA flopping everywhere like a fish. Then you have the Vikings with the 2009 NFC Championship, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The Twins, well, that's just the Poleats. But it just shows how ridiculous this is. Get the call right. You didn't get the call right on this. You didn't have any evidence that he dropped that football. And that you should have went with your call on the field. And this and the holding on Brandel, absolutely egregious. Absolutely egregious. The guy fell down. How the hell do you explain that? And then you see Lane Johnson like bear hugging and grabbing Dallas Turner like it's like he's just this big teddy bear or something like that. And not only that, but Voldy on the 3rd and 9. I don't know if you noticed this, but I definitely did, and I was furious. The Eagles were taking their sweet-ass time to get to the line, and all of a sudden the clock hit 0. Did they get a timeout?
Yeah. Come on.
Did they call timeout? And then the referee, Vinovich, whatever his bitch-ass name is, goes out there and says, delay a game, offense number 1, and then all of a sudden, they say, nope, he called timeout before. You can't tell me that they went and said, oh, it's a delay of game, and then you don't know. He got it off. He got the timeout off. That clock was sitting on 0 for at least 10 seconds, and that is a lifetime of time for them to determine whether it's delay a game. This is absolutely asinine, and I was heated. I'm still heated about it because, quite frankly, I feel like this is rigged. This is absolutely rigged. They did not get the snap off in time. We didn't see they didn't have a replay of Sirianni going down to the referees or anything like that. No, this was positively a bullshit. That's what it was. And I hate the fact that every time this happens, it's always on Minnesota. It's always on Minnesota. It's never on the Eagles. It's never on the Chiefs. It's just bullshit, man. It just really is. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. So anyway, I just feel like the Vikings had their chances. It's not the refs weren't the reason why they lost that game. I'm not saying that. They lost that game by not scoring in the red zone. But
yeah, that's also true. Yeah.
That point that I'm making is that the officiating has been favoring these East Coast / big market teams. And that is absolutely positively bullshit in my opinion. Yep. So anyway, Voldy, before I get even more heated, let's move on to this game. Or no, excuse me. Actually, let's do this. Isaiah Rodgers on the socials medias, you've probably have been following as well.
Yeah.
I'm glad he called these people out because you know what? This has been a problem for a long time.
Yeah.
Isaiah Rodgers didn't have the greatest game, don't get me wrong.
No.
But the fact that we have people in today's society making racist comments and also saying, you know, you're worse than Hitler, apparently is that what they said, or that's what they said to him and everything like that. And I read everything, and he screenshotted it and put it out there, and he exposed him. Voldy, I mean, if you're an athlete and you're getting all this stuff, would you agree that Isaiah Rodgers handled this, you know, correctly? And it is absolutely. And do you feel that more players should be calling out some of these clowns on the socials medias, hiding behind their phones and computers and everything? What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in today's society, obviously, people think that they can hide behind their keyboards and obviously say whatever they want, but with no repercussions whatsoever. If you wouldn't say it to someone's face, say it to them directly, then why say it at all? Yes, that is the old, the old adage of it. Look, I appreciate the fact that Isaiah Rodgers put these people on blast for sure. But people don't need to be making comments. Literally, at the end of the day, it's just a game. It's a stupid game, honestly. Like, was I mad for a little bit after the Vikings lost? Yeah, sure. But then I also realized the Patriots won, so I was actually kind of happy about that. So that kind of really balanced things out. And I don't understand what drives people. The immediate thing is always race when it comes to something bad happening. Why is that always the thing? A guy can have a bad game. If he was perfect, he certainly wouldn't be playing for the Vikings. I'll tell you that for free on top of it, especially the contract that we have with Isaiah Rodgers right now. And yes, he had a great game a few weeks ago against the Bengals. And you know what? Sometimes it's all up and downs. It's peaks and valleys, and you got to roll with the punches. It's a long season. I appreciate the fact that he handled it the way that he did, instead of taking matters into his own hands and kind of clapping back at them with his own words and, you know, things of that sort. But definitely there's no place for it. This guy is a person. He has a family. There are people that wish him very well. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's a football game. In the grand scheme of everything, doesn't mean anything. Is it nice when they win? Absolutely. Is it, you know, does it suck when they lose? Absolutely, on top of it. But at the end of the day, it's not going to ruin my life.
So looking at the 2 touchdowns that, you know, people would look at and say he gave up, he didn't really have a lot of safety help on those plays. Nope. And, you know, on the second one, they were blitzing, so it was cover 0. And, you know, A.J. Brown, to his credit, had a really good double move. Now, I don't understand why some of these people think that going to that extreme of putting out these racist remarks and saying stuff that is just way uncalled for. It's uncalled for, to say the least. I'm glad he put it out the way that he did. The Vikings came out and said, "We are disgusted by the racial slurs directed at Isaiah Rodgers following yesterday's game. As we've said previously, there is simply no room for racist words or actions in sports or society. We support Isaiah and all players who unfortunately experience this type of ignorant and prejudicial behavior far too often." Now, we're human. That's all I really can say. We're all human. We all make mistakes. I sure as hell make mistakes all the time. But for some of these idiots to go out and put that out there, I mean, what do you want out of it? What are you getting out of this? You know, putting your frustration because he missed the play. What? If you were put in that position, how would you like it? You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden people are putting all that out at you. I stand by Isaiah Rodgers. This guy is a very good NFL player, and he's definitely a guy that has been great to fans. He has been playing catch with fans before games. I mean, with little kids signing stuff and everything like that. This guy's a good dude. And he plays game football quite well. And for people to go out and do that is absolutely asinine. That is awful, and they should be ashamed of themselves. And we stand with Isaiah Rodgers for sure. Definitely. So I hope he gets 3 picks tomorrow. I mean, honestly, I hope he does. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to quick address that since that was a big deal this after the game and whatnot. And I was disgusted by what I saw. Absolutely just awful. So, all right, let's get to the game tomorrow. The Vikings take on those L.A. Chargers tomorrow. Voldy, the short week. Obviously, jjmccarthy will not be playing. Yes. Carson Wentz is slated to be the starter and whatnot. Apparently, jjmccarthy is listed as questionable officially, but he will be the emergency quarterback in case something were to go wrong. Voldy, everyone's been talking about it. Is this the right play for the Vikings to start Carson Wentz over our guy, who we liked a lot in the preseason, Max Brosmer? What do you think?
I see it right now, yes, because you come into this with Brosmer. He was just happy to even make the team to start off. I mean, he was very much battling it out with Brett Rippon there, of course, out of preseason and out of training camp for that number 3 quarterback spot. And we already know with the ankle injury for jjmccarthy, you don't want to overplay things and have it become worse than what it is right now. Am I a little bit annoyed that we're not getting jjmccarthy? Yes. But in the grand scheme of everything, I hope he plays another 15 years for the Minnesota Vikings and great success beyond that. This right now is not going to hurt his immediate future. With Carson Wentz, I'm more concerned about the fact of how banged up he is, given the fact that he took a beating in the game in London and we did get Max Brosmer. We got him for a kneel down just before halftime. And then, Wentz was good to go off the bye, coming into a couple of games on top of it. It was, a little bit mixed. He's still pretty banged up. That left shoulder has got to be killing him at this point. And then he took a pounding against the Eagles this past Sunday. So I really hope that, the hits become much lighter, or at least a little bit more protection for Carson Wentz's sake will at least keep him upright enough to where he can kind of weather the storm here coming into after this game, a little bit of a mini bye of sorts, looking into the week after.
The Chargers have been struggling, but, we can't just look at, the Eagles were, this past week. And,
it's true.
I think when you look at this situation coming on Thursday or tomorrow, is everyone's looking at that injury report right now. I got it right in front of me right now. CJ Ham being out with the hand injury, don't know what's going on there. That really sucks. Brian O'Neill, excuse me, didn't practice Monday or Tuesday. He was limited on Wednesday, so today, I should say. Jeez. And he's questionable, not great. jjmccarthy was limited all week. He is questionable, but it sounds like he's emergency quarterback. Xavier Scott limited all week. He's questionable. And Andrew Van Ginkel limited all week, but he is out. Doesn't surprise me though, because I'm pretty sure that he might be back against the Lions. We'll see. Yeah. Carson Wentz, he's good to go. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, he's good to go. Donovan Jackson, good to go. Aaron Jones, he has been activated, and he didn't practice on Monday, but he was limited Tuesday and Wednesday. He is questionable.
Okay.
And Christian Darris didn't practice all week, and he's questionable. So
damn.
This one hurts. This sucks, quite honestly. So We need Darisaw out there and whatnot. So everyone's
Let's
been
just hope that
yeah.
with Darisaw, it's just like, let's keep him from practicing, because
That's
it
what
is a
I was
short
thinking
week.
too. Yeah.
Get those mental reps, maybe a little side field action as well, so that we can get some physical reps. That way he can be good to go for Thursday.
Yep. And I think that might be the situation here, but you never know. You never know with these.
It's also true.
This whole thing. So, looking at this game, Voldy, I want to highlight a couple things here. One of those things being is Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen has been a Viking killer, I feel like, his whole career. And I was at the game when they played the Chargers, was a couple years ago, and he threw a passing touchdown, caught a bunch of footballs, and he was awesome. And when he was with the Bears, he had a couple nice ones as well, but it is the Bears, even though they've been playing well. But I think they got a key on him, 100%, because he keeps finding ways to beat us and whatnot. We need to make sure that we're getting to Justin Herbert. I get that he is very mobile and everything, but listen, if you're going to win this game, you better get some pressure. You better get to him. He's been, throwing a lot of interceptions and whatnot. If we can get to him, we'll be in good shape. Now, in what form? Because you don't have Gink out there. I mean, you have Grenard, you have Dallas Turner, and then Dallas Turner is playing okay. But we need to see a little bit more stardom. You know what I mean? Like something that's a first-round pick, traded up to get him. Let's get it going. So those are a couple things that I'm, looking at. I like our weapons offensively, and I think I'm going to say it. Justin Jefferson's going to have over 100 yards tomorrow. And a touchdown. Because he hasn't scored since week 1. He hasn't scored since week 1. He needs to score.
Got to get the ball to him.
So I got the Vikings winning tomorrow. Voldy, what do you got?
Yeah, I see this matchup. You look at what they have gone through, that being the Chargers since the start of the season. I mean, you lose some very promising top linemen, and that was going to be one of their focal points, was being able to protect the quarterback for sure. And they've been rotating in guys like crazy. Joe Alt is looking like he might be able to play tomorrow night. Injury report coming back. He's been out for some time. On top of it, I see it as you have to make the Chargers run the football. I think that's going to be one of the things. If you can shut down Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson, whoever they have at tight end. I don't know if Tyler Conklin's healthier or not, but Will Dissly. I mean, they've got a couple of tight ends there that kind of circle in. You have to force them to run the football because their offensive line has been very patchwork as of late. And if you can fluster Herbert out of the pocket, he's going to serve a couple up for the defense on top of it. So you got to jam the receivers and definitely get after them and definitely hold down Keenan Allen for sure. He may be old, but he always plays well against the Vikings. I see the Vikings win. It's going to be a tight one for sure. And I said even before the show, defense is going to have to win us this game. We've got to win the turnover battle for sure.
And we need to get some turnovers. It's been a while since we've gotten some turnovers. I think, like I said, I think they're going to win this game. I feel it's going to be close, too. I think it might have to be leaning on the defense. But, it wouldn't shock me if things went sideways. But at the same time, too, it just hasn't been what we expected it was going to be. But, they could start this hot streak right now. Who knows? But, it'll be tough. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, especially Harbaugh. You never know. I mean, their defense is a lot better from what they were like 2 years ago, I think. So, all right, let's move on to those Wolves. Yes, they are back.
Bring your ass.
Yes, sir.
Bring ya ass. The Wolves are back. They play Portland tonight. They got those Trailblazers at 9 o'clock. So make sure that you stay up. No, I probably won't. I will say I'll watch some of it though a little bit. But a lot of hype for the Wolves this season. Voldy, 2 straight years of going to the Western Conference Finals, unfortunately falling short. But Anthony Edwards has been working his ass off for sure, and the team sounds like that there's a lot of positives coming out with this squad this year. Voldy, how are you feeling about the Wolves this year? What do you got?
I feel that the less news, the better it's been for the Timberwolves. Last couple seasons, obviously, the big trades, the big signings, making the Western Conference Finals back-to-back years, and all the hoopla that's come along with it. That was good at the time, but now we're transitioning, obviously, the big thing from the offseason, of course, the transition of power in the, A-Rod Mark Lowry camp from Glenn Taylor, and a few moves here and there. The only really big news since then has really been just the announcement that the trees are back with the black uniforms, and of course they dropped the Prince uniforms on top of it, so they got those back in the rotation as well. But other than that, it's been pretty radio silent this offseason, which I feel like is going to be good. Anthony Edwards has put his nose to the grindstone and has just been working, and I feel that, like I said, the less news, the better. You have another year of seasoning under these guys' belts, especially with what they've accomplished the last couple of years, and hopefully make that next jump and reach the NBA Finals.
That is certainly the hope. Ant looks great. I think Shyam's reported that he's got 3.5% body fat, which is insanely just impressive. He is very much shredded. He has really worked on his craft. Even getting some pointers from MJ as well on his jumper game, to say the least. His fadeaways, things like that. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Voldy. I know that bold predictions we usually do with the Vikings, but I'm going to make a bold prediction. Are you ready for this?
Okay. We got
Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man, the guy that has been the face of this franchise for, gosh, is it more than 5 years now? Maybe 4, maybe more than 4. Anyway, Anthony Edwards will win MVP this year. I'm calling it.
Love it. Great pick.
I am taking Anthony Edwards. Listen, I think he hears the criticisms. He's heard people talk about how, he can't get over the hump. He can't lead this team over the hump, blah, 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 blah. He's been listening to that, and he's saying, screw you guys. I'm going to get this done with this team. And they have the pieces. They just need to gel together. It sounds like Ant, unfortunately, is a game-time decision tonight, dealing with some back spasms, unfortunately. But and then the other big news, too, is that Dante DiVincenzo is going to start at point guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It sounds like Mike Conley is going to be kind of, messing a little bit with his minutes and whatnot just to, he's an older guy now, and, he can only handle so much. But I think that's an interesting take on it. But yes, I am going with Anthony Edwards being the NBA MVP this season. I'm not going to go and say they're going to make it to the conference final. They're going to the finals and everything like that. I'm not going to go that far. But what I will say is I think Ant is going to be MVP, and I think the Wolves are going to go over 50 wins as well. So,
I like that.
let's go with that. It'll be an exciting season. I think there's so much hype with this team these past few years now that people are starting to believe that they can get this done. Glenn, he has all that damn burn book crap that he was doing, 77 pages worth of apparently just so that the sale wouldn't go through for A-Rod and Lowry.
What don't we know about A-Rod that you can actually say, like there's so much bad stuff out there about A-Rod to begin with. Like, I'm sure he'd set something down and be like, we already knew all this. Like, this is old news.
Sure.
What else you got, old man?
For sure. And, I've been a very big critic of A-Rod too. But, I mean, it just shows that this old man just needed to get the hell out of here. I mean, he just needs to go. So, with that being said, I think, the Wolves are going to have a good year, man. I think they win tonight. I think I'm not saying they're going to blow the brakes off the Trailblazers, which would be great. I mean, if they destroyed them. But I say they'll win. I say they win by like 10 or something like that. So go Wolves. See how the season goes. Keep you up to date. Everything like that. So looking forward to it. All right. Callahan School of Logic. We're going right back to the Minnesota Vikings here. There's been a lot of talk about JJ and the quarterback situation that has been going on with the Minnesota Vikings. I have the understanding that we need to be patient with this. I know that people are concerned about certain things. I get it. I understand that. But at the same time, I'm here to put your minds at ease, people, that they have a plan set for J.J. McCarthy. I'm going to give you some reasons and everything like that. You guys are going to jot down your notes and everything. I want you to take this in and just think to yourself, I can be patient with the plan that they have. Did they predict he'd get hurt against the Falcons? No. But they want to make sure that the guy that they put their faith in this franchise to, that he is 100% when he gets back out there. So I will explain here. Let's get going with the Callahan School of Logic.
Class is in session. You're enrolled in Callahan's School of Logic.
All right, everybody, get your pens, pencils, pads of paper, sit in your desks, and be patient. That's all I ask of you guys, is to be patient. Be patient with this whole process with J.J. McCarthy and whatnot. So, what I'm going to start off today's class with is this. The definition of patience. And according to the dictionary, Merriam-Webster, you know the whole deal with that. The definition of patience is this: the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. This past week, the Vikings have tested every ounce of that word. Let's be honest. I get it. It's frustrating. I'm frustrated too. I was totally frustrated in the first segment there with Tater Tot Hot Take. I'm not necessarily P.O.'d at one particular person, but with the hand we've been dealt so far this season. We've seen this before. We have all this hope, and then all of a sudden things don't go according to plan. When do things ever go according to plan with this Minnesota Vikings team? But it's not what anybody expected. You know, a year ago, the Vikings were one of the healthiest teams in the league, and this year it's pretty much the exact opposite. We're dealing with a neck injury with Gink. You know, Darrisaw's been, I don't know what's going on with his knee, if it's been really affecting him, you know, ever since he's come back. I mean, the list goes on with the Vikings, being without J.J. McCarthy and everything like that. I feel like, and, you know, I'm not trying to be mean to those fans because they're fans of the same team I am. But these fans are quick to jump to conclusions here, folks. And I feel like sometimes you have that reactionary response that everyone kind of has, right? And with everything that's happened week to week, and the big question now, obviously, like we've said, seems to be, are we sure J.J. McCarthy is the guy? Let's talk about it here. So the injury situation, we all know, okay? J.J. McCarthy's sprain is one of those that simply needs time to heal. And I am no, PT person or anything like that, but my sister is, my younger sister is. And this is a injury that needs time to heal fully, or unless you could suffer a setback with this injury, okay? I've seen all of the deals with the soft benching theories floating around. People are like, it was a soft benching because he didn't play well against the Falcons. But if you really watch I put Monday night. It's actually Sunday night. What am I doing? Sunday night game against the Falcons. You know it's not the case. The Vikings were down Ryan Kelly. They were down Christian Darrisaw still. He hadn't come back. And Justin Skol, I know, didn't play well. Don't get me wrong. I know that. But he had a concussion. So now you're plugging in Juergens and Rouse, guys who really haven't played much really in the regular season. And with that, I mean, it's a recipe for disaster. And JJ was sacked 6 times and took several big hits, which led to his injury. That's why he got that sprain, and he played through it. He tried to even play through it. Now, before people start mauling me right now and saying, well, he turned the ball over twice and, he was totally fine and he lost that fumble. Yes, most of those were on him. I watched the game. I knew exactly what was going on here. You could see he was rattled. I mean, being a guy that's only started 2 games, I mean, rightfully so. But are we really going to judge him his entire career off one rough outing? No, absolutely not. So what we've already seen is flashes of what JJ can be. That fourth quarter comeback he had against Chicago, and some of the great throws he made in that Falcons game. Even when he was under duress and everything like that, he had that nice strike to Justin Jefferson, that 50-yarder before the end of the half. He just zoomed that in there. He has the right mindset and the right people around him. We've seen these flashes happen. We've seen what he can do. Let's make sure that we're focusing on what he does well, working on his footwork. Apparently, he's been working on that with O'Connell. I mean, he's still only 22 years old, guys. So, after watching Sunday's game, like we've talked about, one thing's clear. Carson Wentz is not the answer. We know what he is at this point. No matter how the rest of the season unfolds, jjmccarthy needs to be the starter when the Vikings face Detroit in Week 9. Look, Carson Wentz, people were saying that he was, oh man, if he plays really well, the Vikings have no choice but to keep him in. Like I said these few weeks, I said he has not proven to me that he can do that. He has a lot of turnovers. I mean, you look at this past week, everything like that. It's not good, guys, especially what the schedule you have coming up here. JJ is young. He's very talented. He needs real game reps to grow as a quarterback, as a player in the NFL. Let him learn. Let him develop. Don't ruin his trajectory before it even gets started, guys. The bigger picture, KOC said it best. Organizations fail quarterbacks more than quarterbacks fail organizations. That is as spot on as can be, and I think some people are forgetting that, especially these national media people and some Vikings fans, right? We can't assume after 2 games that JJ isn't our guy, especially when the offensive line was decimated, right? Justin Skol got, quote-unquote, schooled against the Bears. I mean, they tore him apart, and then he has to start again against the Falcons, and he got destroyed there. Unfortunately, he got injured as well. When he's 100%, give him the chance to show what he can do. Then, and only then, we can start evaluating the long-term outlook. Let's see what he does against Detroit. I know it's not the greatest opponent to start getting him back for, but, again, he's got to get in there. He's got to get in there. So the roster is built to compete right now. I know there's been a lot of that. It's built to compete right now. We got to get this done. But if we don't give JJ the experience he needs, what's the point, right? Here's the logic in all this, zoners, fans, whoever else. We have to be patient through this process, okay? Drafting J.J. McCarthy was not a mistake. He's 22 years old with a bright future ahead. The Vikings have a strong coaching staff, and a locker room that believes in him. If you've been looking at the post game or the locker room after that win against Chicago, I mean, did you see how many of those guys were like loving that kid? And especially what he said in the huddle and everything like that? That is a leader. Would you see Christian Ponder doing that? No. Joe Webb? No. That's who I want as my quarterback. Rome wasn't built in a day, as we all know. That's the common saying. And neither is a franchise quarterback. Let the process play out and give JJ the chance to prove that he is the guy. So, that's what I got for Callahan's School of Logic. Voldy, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about this whole situation, this development plan that we have set for JJ McCarthy? What do you got?
You know, I've always been a big proponent because what we've seen in years past with quarterbacks that have rushed into being starting right out of the gate, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And sadly, we've seen a lot more doesn't than does. I mean, you get some of the wonders of C.J. Stroud in his rookie year, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix had a very promising rookie year as well. And then you see guys that are forced into the start right off the bat, of course, you know, right away, Sam Darnold. You see, you know, guys like, I mean, Sam Darnold was the big one that I can remember off the top of my head. There's been many, many others.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young right off the bat. It doesn't always work right when you come in the league. You need that time. You need those reps. You need to understand what it is to be a professional football player on and off the field. And I am more than comfortable with the development plan of sorts with JJ McCarthy. Obviously, you want him to be 100% healthy. He's also, you know, going stuff with him also being a new father on top of it. I mean, I definitely am not faulting him for any of that. There is just sometimes you're just dealt a bad hand right off the bat. And I really hope that with what's going on currently, get him 100% healthy. He's still getting those reps in, you know, obviously in practice and also learning on and off the field from last year and going into this year as well. Because you're always learning, especially at the NFL level, that it pays dividends in the future and that we'll be talking 5-10 years from now about how we look back at the start of his career and like, thank God we did not rush him into starting right away so that he'd be, you know, one of those guys that was a first round bust at the quarterback position. We need to trust everything that's going on because we want him to have a very lengthy future and not just an immediate success, if any of at all with it. Sure, we got the win a Monday night against the Bears, but then we also had that bad loss against the Falcons. Looking back at it, wasn't that bad of a loss because how good the Falcons have been playing this season overall, but still, we need him to be healthy for the long term as opposed to the short term.
And I think people are just missing that, is that, you know, it's like, oh, he's injury prone and, you know, this and that. It's like, guys, you're going to get, you just said it. You're going to be dealt a bad hand sometimes. And I feel like people are already jumping off the ship, you know, about this whole thing. And it's like, we need to look at this and say, when he's fully healthy, we can make determinations then and see where it goes. Now, I'm not going to say after 1 year, like if he's just throwing pick after pick after pick after pick, like if it's just really bad, then okay, maybe, you know, that's not good. But if it's decent, below average or something like that, let's see what comes next year and stuff like that. We are still very much in the early part of this season. Let's keep it going, see what happens when they get to play Detroit, which I'm not super confident in, but you know, it takes time. It's patience, and I've chosen the path of patience with JJ McCarthy. So I believe in the guy. I really do. I really do believe in him. So, Zoners, let us know what you think. If you think we're full of crap, if you think I'm full of crap, or if you think, you know what, I agree. I'm with you. Patience with JJ McCarthy. Just take it easy. I'm not going to go the RELAX route, But what I
Trust
will
it.
say is patience. Patience. Not panic. Patience. So, all right. That'll do it for Callahan School of Logic. Class dismissed. ARA tonight. It is stacked. Voldy is wearing the Blue Jays. They move on to the World Series. Congratulations to the Blue Jays. They'll be taking on the Dodgers. Dodgers favored in the World Series versus Toronto. We will discuss everything, the happenings with that. And then Florida fires Billy Napier in the college football ranks. We will talk about that too. And the one that I can't wait to talk about, Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, getting into it on the through the media on the X machine as well. They got into it. We'll talk about it. And then Brandon Graham unretires, rejoins the Eagles. Needs a little bit of veteran presence in there, a leader in the locker room. So we'll see if he makes an impact. And now we got KD and the Rockets agreeing to an extension. Did they win last night or did they lose to OKC? I can't remember. I'll have to look it
Good
up.
question.
But we'll take a look at that, and then that'll be it for ARA. So I say we get into it. What's up? Or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So Voldy, Tate, welcome. Why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, we start off in the world of Major League Baseball as the matchup is set coming off a Game 7 victory last night. The Toronto Blue Jays will be taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers, but the Dodgers entering in as the favorite from the betting world of sides of things. Of course, the reigning World Series champion and National League champions as well, but they are the overwhelming favorites to win their second straight title as well at minus 210 to win the World Series, who opened up against the Blue Jays at plus 175. Of course, you look at the matchup overall, you've got the rotation of the Dodgers, and let's look at a guy named Shohei Ohtani, 3 home runs, 10 strikeouts in the closeout game to get to the World Series, while you've got a scrappy bunch in Toronto that are looking to upset the reigning champs. Looking at the matchup overall between these two squads, who do you see winning the World Series? Or absurd or approved, the Dodgers will repeat as world champions in 6 games.
Well, this is an interesting matchup, to say the least. I know a lot of people are kind of pulling for the Mariners to get into the World Series, but the Jays, they got it done. And, all respect to them. They did a great job. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Going to the World Series, that's pretty sweet. And then Louis Varland, former Twin.
Yes, sir.
You see? You see what happens when you do that fire sale and everything? Everything goes to crap because of the Twins. So thanks, Polads. Thanks a lot. We appreciate it. As much as I'd love to say that the Blue Jays were going to go and beat the Dodgers, I mean, look, money can buy you a lot of things, and let's be honest, that's what the Dodgers have done. Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. They are, it doesn't surprise me they're favored. I feel like Toronto has been resilient all year, though. I feel they've been really resilient. I think they've been a team that has been overlooked, for most of the season, too. I'm going to say absurd.
Okay.
Because I think the Jays win in 7. Yes, nice. I'm going with 7. I'm taking the Jays, man. Why not? Why the hell not? And I know for all of you people that are on the social medias and everything like that, it's, people are saying, it's Kendrick Lamar versus Drake, in the World Series and everything like that. We all know how that turned out. Ha, ha, ha. Listen,
So do we get Drake's revenge, though?
That's the thing, and that's what I'm saying. And to be quite honest, depending on how you thought that whole beef went out, I personally believe that, I feel like Drake had the stronger diss tracks, I will say, but that's a whole different conversation. But I feel like Toronto's going to go, and it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be a really good series. I'm going with the Jays for the World Series. So, absurd. Don't think Dodgers will repeat. I'm taking the Jays. Voldy, I think I know where you're leaning. What do you got?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very scrappy series from the sense that the Dodgers do have the advantage in the rotation. I would certainly say that for sure. But with the lineup that the Blue Jays bring out, and of course they also do get back Bo Bichette at shortstop, who's been missing pretty much a great majority of the season through many injuries that he has had in his young burgeoning career. That could be the spark that they need in their lineup as well with George Springer. You do have Alejandro Kirk as well. I mean, you've got guys all over the field that can definitely play defense for sure and also have some clutch hitting down the stretch as well. But I feel like that is going to be a big difference, is the clutch hitting over the starting rotation, because at this point now, starters have been pitching for a very long time. Of course, regular season, playoffs, everything on top of that. I feel like pitch counts are going to be a little bit shorter. Leashes are going to be a lot shorter as well. And bullpens are also going to be helping too. Not saying that the Dodgers don't have a deep bullpen, but the Blue Jays do have a very crafty bullpen for sure. I say it's absurd. Give me Jays in 7 as well.
I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know. The Jays have been resilient, man. I think
let's get Max Scherzer another World Series. Give him his 3rd World Series with his 3rd different team, so that way he can retire. And Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw can walk out into this. Well, I should say Clayton Kershaw is on this side. Never mind then. Let's get Clayton Kershaw just out. Just get him out.
He's got one. All right. It's fine.
He's got 2 technically.
He's got 2.
But
Yeah.
But the one for sure, he didn't do anything, but still, he was on the team and contributed quite.
He was on the team.
He was on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question. I just realized this. If Coach Bo was still with the Jays and everything like that, would he be getting a ring?
That is a very good question.
I'm curious.
Definitely. Yeah.
But he's with the Reds now, if I'm not mistaken.
He's with the Reds organization, yes, up in their AA affiliate in Chattanooga. I think that would actually, yes, I believe so. That like minor league staff, or at least consider it, or at least prominent members within the organization would be taken care of in that regard.
We need to get Coach Bo a ring. That's the main thing here. So it should be a fun World Series. So. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we head to the college football ranks, and one of the more major firings of the season came down with the University of Florida and their head coach in Billy Napier, who after a 3-4 start was relieved of his coaching duties after that error-filled loss, even a day after a win, I should say, against Mississippi State. Now, of course, the tenure of Billy Napier has been quite problematic, we'll certainly say, after a 3-4 start for the year, but Billy Napier is not going to be walking out empty-handed. $21 million owed to him within the 30 days of the buyout for his contract. Napier did go 22-23-4 seasons and 12-16 in SEC play for the Florida Gators, but one of the more sad statistics is, of course, with his 5-17 record against ranked opponents, 0-14 away from home. Not exactly what you'd want to hear from, of course, the University of Florida and their football program. Now, with Billy Napier now getting let go as head coach at the University of Florida, who do you see being the next head coach for the Gators coming into next season?
Oh, that's a great question. And, it's Florida is, I don't want to say a football school because they just won the national championship for basketball not too long ago.
Yeah, but aren't they a football school, though?
I don't know, but they are. I mean, back in the day, they were very good. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Billy
had a
Donovan
lot of good
back
teams.
in the day.
Yeah. So there's a high standard, especially when you play in the SEC. They took on Texas, right? And they lost, I believe, right? I feel like I thought they did. Anyway, it sounds like if you're not making, if you're not winning against those top teams and everything like that, especially if you're going 22-23, I mean, it's not an awful record, but it's not up to the standard of you're winning games in the SEC. I mean, it's going to take a lot of it's going to take a lot to find the next guy. I mean, this is going to be very tough for the Gators to find somebody that can, right the ship a little bit. And they've been struggling to find that. They've kind of had some up and down years, but it's been, it's been tough. And, he went from Louisiana to, Florida, and it just didn't work out. I will say I'm not as familiar with who is available right now, but I know that there's been talk, the whole James Franklin thing has been going on. I don't know if he might be in the running there, maybe not. I'm not sure if he wants to make the jump to the SEC. Don't know if they're interested and everything like that. But, the question is Matt Rule wanting to run into the Florida Gators and coach there instead of going to Penn State, or if he wants to go back home to Penn State and everything like that? It wouldn't shock me. I'm not sure who would be kind of the top guy, but I think Franklin would be in the mix. I think that this is a guy that would kind of get them back to where they need to be. Now, do you want to go from one guy who didn't, do much against ranked teams to another guy who really, had that same reputation of not being able to beat those top teams in the Big Ten? I don't know. But I think it's going to be tough. I mean, they're going to have to go through the process. I don't think PJ's in the running. I would be shocked if he was.
God help us.
I doubt that would happen. But I guess I'm not 100% sure. I'll just throw my hat in the ring and say James Franklin, just because to give him another shot and see what he can do in the SEC. So I'll go with James Franklin. Voldy, who do you got?
There is only one name that can bring Florida back to its great prominence that it once had. National championships, first-round draft picks, SEC championships, winning on and off the field, whether legally or illegally, and that one name, and one name only, whether it would kill him or not, physically, mentally, psychologically, there is only one name that should be the head coach for the University of Florida football program, and it is Urban Meyer. Yes, I said it, Urban Meyer back in Gainesville.
No.
Let's make it happen. One last ride, so that way it can put him out of his misery and he can fall flat on his back of a gall darn heart attack on the sidelines in the swamp, so we can reminisce like the good old days. And that way he can navigate through, of course, the facilities, the NIL opportunities, and of course with student athletes and staff, we can see how that can bring back the prominence that Florida once had as a football school. Put in Urban Meyer in the mix as the next head coach for the University of Florida.
Oh God, you better watch out. All the bars and everything, him going up on co-eds and everything like that.
Don't worry. He's got a guy that can cover up everything.
There's a guy that can help him out. I'd shake my head and be like, I guess they didn't learn. But you know what? Yeah, that's your choice. Hunts would love that. Who knows? All right, next one, Voldy.
Heading to the world of the NFL, of course, former quarterback coach in combination in Denver, Russell Wilson and Sean Payton were not exactly friendly to each other through the airwaves of social media. On top of it, following a comeback victory for the Denver Broncos over the New York Giants in a stunning 30-point comeback victory this past Sunday. Of course, comments that were thrown out by Coach Payton saying that he, quote, had a ton of respect for the Giants organization. I spent 4 of my early years there coordinating a Super Bowl, first game in the stadium before 9/11, close with the Mara and Tisch family. They found a little spark with that quarterback. I was talking to John Mara not too long ago, and I wish they were hoping that change would have happened long after our game. Now, talking about change at quarterback, the previous starting quarterback, Russell Wilson, was starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos in the early goings of the Sean Payton era out in Denver. Now, Russell Wilson did catch comments and also heard of said comments of that situation and from Sean Payton. And this is what the return comments for Wilson did say. Classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 years later through social media. Of course, referring to, of course, many things that. Matt, I picked this story because of you, and I really want to hear your full sentiments on this. Is it absurd or approve Russell Wilson's comments that are valid of Sean Payton based on what he had said in return?
Well, this is what I will. I won't really say anything, but this. Give it a sec. Just 1 second. 1 second. There we go. It's got my stamp of approval. Listen. I know they didn't have the greatest relationship and everything like that. It was like water and oil. It doesn't mix, right? Mm-hmm. And they're the ones that went after him. They're the ones that went out and, went and got him. And I think it was Hackett before. Yeah, that's right. Hackett and then Payton came in. Now, when you're already starting off on the wrong foot, that's not a recipe for success. Just ask Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins, right? And I think from Sean Payton bringing up Russell Wilson and his time there and then him being close with the Giants organization and whatnot, making those comments and saying like Dart's going to be, great. And so far he's been pretty good. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But the fact that he had to go and just put that little nugget in there just to, stick the knife in a little bit on Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, whenever it comes to these types of things, he's been quiet. He really hasn't said anything. He just lets his play do the talking. But I think he finally had enough of people poking and prodding on this sort of thing. First of all, Russell Wilson's comments back to him is spot on. Mm-hmm. This man has been put on a pedestal by many of the NFL people around him and whatnot, and people that have coached with him. And the fact that sometimes people start to forget that, oh yeah, that's right, the bounty gate and everything like that. I loved every single second of him calling out Sean Payton like that. And even mentioning the bounties and whatnot. The bounty dig is perfect. Because, I know it was orchestrated by Greg Williams. And, you didn't know anything. Payton didn't know anything about it. We all know that's bullshit. He did. And the fact that Russell Wilson was just like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. And you know what? He can go, kick sand for all I care. And this isn't the first time he's gone at players. I mean, he went at Nathaniel Hackett. He went at Rodgers. He's done all this stuff. Mocking the skol chant and all that garbage that he's done. But I know Russell Wilson really hasn't been the same since he was traded to Denver and then Pittsburgh, and then he's on to New York Giants. But I think it just shows who Sean Payton truly is. He's an asshole. It's that simple. He is an absolute asshole. And I wish nothing but the worst for that man. Not only him, Greg Williams as well, the whole deal. But look, him making all these digs, why are you doing that? You guys won the freaking game, and now you're going to take shots at a guy who didn't do anything to you. You're the guy that was always talking crap about him and whatnot. You didn't have that relationship with him. And, ever since it's like, oh, I want my guy. Well, you got Bo Nix, and you seem to trust him, and it's fine and dandy right now. But you know what? It's going to get to a point where you guys are going to be at each other's throats. And guess what? Sean Payton is one of those guys where he's going to flame out. If things don't go his way, he's going to, oh, I'm done. I don't want to be fired or anything, so I'm just going to leave. I am so sick and tired of Sean Payton. I'm defending Russell Wilson on this for sure. And the fact that this man continues to do things like this just shows what type of a person he is. And if I ever meet Sean Payton, if I ever get in close vicinity of that man, right here, boom, right in the face. So anyway, yes, it is absolutely 100% valid, and it's got my stamp of approval. Voldy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't understand why Sean Payton is so petty as a head coach for a guy that has, he's done a lot of things in the league. You can throw in, of course, with the Bounty Gate and won Super Bowls on top of it. Why does he continue to, turn over stones that are not exactly in his best interest and continue to dig up the past? Overall, I don't understand why he continues to do this, and now he's catching strays because of it. And just, honestly, just focus on your own team, stop living in the past, and just get over it. Like, dude, you're a head football coach in the National Football League. Why are you trying to, make mountains out of molehills? And it just is stupid and petty, honestly. And get over yourself, honestly. I mean, sure, you're a decent enough coach to continue to be, looked at as a great coach. But honestly, I think it kind of tarnishes his career a little bit. The fact that he finds ways to keep himself, try to put the spotlight on him a little bit more as opposed to his team. It's kind of dumb. But his comments and Russell Wilson's comments, absolutely 100% approved in my mind.
I want to, there's a lot of people that are bashing him, and it's about freaking time, to be honest. Michael Wilbon said this. He said, behaves too often like a classless bum. And it's spot on. And there are some people that are like, oh, he was just saying that Dart is a big upgrade over it. And it's like, it doesn't matter. He's taking a dig at a guy that literally hasn't done anything to him. Move on to your next game, you frickin' bum. You're just, he's a bum. That's what he is. Manny Lacho. Let me go ahead and finish what Russell Wilson started, because Sean Payton can get the F out of here with all the disrespect. I mean, it's not just everybody else, or it's not just us. It's everyone else. Sean Payton is a piece of shit. It's that simple. So that's all I got to say about that. Voldy, next one.
Staying in the world of the NFL, it didn't take long for retirement to get the best of some people, and defensive end Brandon Graham is going to be stepping back into the Philadelphia Eagles locker room to come out of retirement to join the depleted defensive line ranks for the reigning champion, Super Bowl champion Eagles, as he announced on his announced on Tuesday that the Eagles did that Graham will be agreeing to a 1-year deal to suit up for his 16th season with the Philadelphia Eagles. This also coming off the heels of the sudden retirement of Zadarius Smith last week. And of course, a very depleted group that has not been getting after the quarterback, unfortunately, was Zadarius coming into last week, led the entire edge rushers group with only 1.5 sacks. Now, everything coupled on top with the departures from last season and also some injuries that hit early on the Eagles too. Brandon Graham is going to be back into the locker room here for the Eagles. And of course, with the defensive line that is very young, but on the edge side of things, could use a little bit more production. Is it absurd or approved? Will Brandon Graham have an impact on the field for the Eagles down the stretch here as they head into more meaningful games?
Well, for one, that team, or the Eagles, there's something brewing still. There's something brewing. No matter, look, they played well against the Vikings. They did what they needed to do. They got the win. I think that this is a situation to where this team needs a voice in that locker room right now, because it's, I think Hurts and A.J. Brown are at odds. I mean, it's very similar. And, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel it's kind of similar to Donovan McNabb to T.O. That whole dynamic was just weird. They didn't really get along, but you know what? They played well with each other. I think there's something between those two. Devontae Smith, I think, has been kind of, he's been more quiet about it, but I think there's something brewing there too. They want the ball, the wide receivers, the whole deal. But listen, I think they made it this way just so that they can get somebody in the building to do that. Now, they lost Zadarius. They did get after Wentz a little bit, but not as much as I thought, really. I thought Wentz did a, okay job of getting out of the pocket. I mean, he's slow. He's pretty slow, but slow as in, physically trying to get away from the pressure and all that stuff. But I think it comes down to getting that veteran presence. Does he still have it? Has he been working out and stuff? I'm sure he has. I mean, he's been with the Eagles for years now. He's a good player. I've heard nothing but good things about him, especially from my aunt and uncle who live in Philadelphia there. And actually, my aunt met Brandon Graham as well. Took a photo with him. Just a great dude and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm going to go and say that I think he will. I think he's going to get sacks. But I just don't think it's going to be like an elite level. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a sack here every couple games in there. And then also having that leadership aspect of having him back, especially when Zadarius went full Zadarius, to say the least. Don't know why he did that, but he's a weird dude. Zadarius Smith is a weird dude. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I mean, it's very interesting to see now all of a sudden we see him get back and return. I mean, I'm sure it was a situation where he was going to stay ready in the event that someone did call. And thankfully for his sake, it was the Eagles. So that way he didn't have to go very far. And, he does bring that certain set of leadership skills, obviously being the longest tenured Eagle in franchise history, because of the fact that he's been there through the ups, the downs, the good seasons, the bad seasons, 2-time Super Bowl champion on top of it. He knows what it takes for a team to come together and ultimately reach the other side, that is in winning a championship. And for the Eagles, they are very much a team that is internally doing as much against themselves to ruin everything as much as possible, because, things that are being said and done in the locker room, off the field, yet somehow is leading to success on the field, despite all these things working against them. Hopefully with the presence of Brandon Graham, that kind of settles things down a little bit more. Sure, it'd be nice to get some production on the field too, but locker room wise, you'd be hard pressed to find a guy in there that could do much more in the locker room for the Eagles than a Brandon Graham, for sure.
Yeah, well, it's they got to keep winning these games if they're going to be that top tier. So it's going to be a fight to the finish for sure for the Eagles. All right, last one, Voldy.
Well, heading to the world of the NBA, of course, the regular season now into swing here this evening. Houston Rockets and star Kevindurant have signed a 2-year, $90 million contract extension with a player option for 2027, 2028, as was announced earlier this week. The maximum eligible contract extension of $120 million over 2 years, but he did understood why he chose the Rockets as a trade destination, as he would be able to find sacrificing money on a new deal. In this case, it would be about $30 million. So that way it could give the team a little bit more team building flexibility, as reported. Instead of going for the big money, KD decided to take team building over the max veteran contract. Of course, now with the start for the 37-year-old Kevindurant in a new season and a new team for the season for him. Is it absurd or approved with KD sacrificing a little bit of money so that way the Rockets can build? Will KD be able to lead the Rockets into multiple rounds of the playoffs during his Houston tenure?
Well, they looked pretty good the other night. Speaking of which, I got to look that up to see if they won or not. But they have a very good defensive team. I mean, it's that they were very good last year defensively, and they were good. They did lose. Okay, they did lose that game.
Oh, there you go.
So, KD is an interesting has an interesting situation here. And, I know I was big on him trying to come to Minnesota and everything like that. He didn't want to come here, so be it. But with this Rockets team, I mean, they got a good young core there. Dylan Brooks is a good defender, kind of a jackass, but, whatever. That team, I feel like, can make some noise. Sagan is a good player. He had 38 points the other night, or 39, excuse me, against OKC and everything. So they've shown some promise, and KD, putting up the numbers he put up, he was 56% from the field, which is damn good, to say the least, for Kevindurant. Now, the question is, can he stay healthy at this point in his career? I think, some people had some questions. Can he stay healthy? Can he be out there and everything like that? Will he be able to make it through a season? And I think he can. I mean, he's got one of the best shots I feel like I've ever seen. The guy just is so fluid with his shot. He's a hell of a player. But to answer your question, I would say yes. It's got my stamp of approval. I think the Rockets are going to be a tough test for any team, but I'm still going with our Wolves here for sure. But I think they'll win a couple series. I don't think they're going to be a finals team. I think they need to add a little bit more pieces, but KD in Houston I think makes sense from that perspective, and I do wish them luck and whatnot, but I just think they're not going to get to where they people are expecting them to be, and that being a finals appearance. So I'll give it my stamp of approval, and we'll see what happens with the Rockets the rest of the year. So Voldy, what do you got?
Yeah, I found it very interesting. You'd think at this point in Katie's career that he would be just wanting to get his money and just finish off his career. Of course, he does have the championships, but maybe it's that ability that he wants to prove that he can win it anywhere. And just the fact that, when he won in Golden State, it was because he was with Golden State to take less money. So that way the team, the Rockets in this case, would be able to build around him and maybe make a couple of runs for sure in the playoffs. Multiple rounds in the playoffs for sure. I would definitely say yes. Will it suffice a championship? I'm going to say no. I mean, they've got some young pieces for sure. some, up and coming players for sure, but I don't think it's quite
West
enough
is
here
tough.
with the West. Yeah, the West is tough. The East is a little bit open at some points too, especially with the amount of injuries that happened last season in the Eastern Conference, but the West is very, very tough. I say multiple rounds. Yes, it's got my stamp of approval, but definitely I don't see a championship coming for Houston and for KD.
But I've been proven wrong before. But the thing is,
Me too.
I don't get how you get past OKC, the Nuggets, the Wolves, even the Lakers a little bit. But LeBron's getting old. But anyway, Voldy, great job with ARA this week.
Thanks, sir.
Before we get to Shield shoutouts, I do want to give one more thing on the whole Sean Payton, Russell Wilson thing. One little thing, which is interesting. Because he did respond. I was looking for this. I couldn't find it. But he did respond to the tweet that Russell Wilson put out. And he said this. He said, he says, Wilson's tweet about him, and he understands why Wilson felt that way, but clarified that his comments were strictly about Jackson Dart and not meant as a low blow towards Russ. He doesn't get it. I mean, he we know what he meant. This isn't surprising. This is what he does. So anyway, just wanted to throw that up there. But Voldy's got Shield shoutouts tonight. We got some Shield shoutouts to get to, so let's get it going. What's up? Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, sadly, news coming through the waves earlier this week that former Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Oakland Raiders running back Doug Martin passed away at the age of 36 this week. Something going on in police custody that he sadly did pass away. Of course, I remember from his time at Boise State back in college as well. He was a fun running back to remember, and also the great nickname that he had, the Muscle Hamster, being, of course, a very shredded, small man, but very powerful in his time. So sad to hear of the passing of Doug Martin at this time. And do have to send a Shield shout out to former Minnesota Twins catcher Kurtsuzuki, as he was announced as the new manager for the Los Angeles Angels, that coming down with multiple reports, of course, former Twins interviewing for the position. But Kurtsuzuki is getting the nod as the manager for next season. So congrats to him, and that'll do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Yes, congrats to him. I wasn't sure if he was still coaching or if he was still playing for that. So good for him. And Doug Martin, I mean, gosh, I remember some of those games that he had, and he was just quick. The guy was quick. Mm-hmm. He was violent. He was a, great player, and, R.I.P. to him. I mean, that's way too young. That's sad, very sad. So, great job with Shield shoutouts this week, Voldy, as always. And you guys know the deal. Get those picks in, man. We got the Vikings playing tomorrow versus the Chargers. Get those picks in. Keep in tune with the bundles and everything like that. Keep making the picks. You're in play for the bundle if you keep making those picks. So, and also, it's a prize week. Voldy, what can the Zoners win this week?
Let's see if I can do this one-handed or not as I bump my microphone here. That's right. We're giving away one of these. That's right. One of the original shirts here, MinneZona Sports Live Dry Fit. On the back, it still has the Facebook Live logo as well. We can get that. There it is right there. Yeah. That's right. Still applicable since we are back on Facebook. Be sure to get those picks in. If you come out as the winner this week, that shirt's going to be yours.
That's right. So make sure you get those picks in. And also, if you just wanted to get some merch, we got merch for you. Guys, it's getting cold out. It's getting pretty chilly out for one. The fall weather's coming. We got the sweatpants. We got the winter caps as well. We didn't sell it last week since RJ decided to go with the tumbler, but keep a keen eye on prizes because it might pop up again. So make sure you get those picks in and whatnot, and check out what we have. We got the shirts. We got we got the tumblers. We've got the stickers. We've got the hats, the hunting hats, the OG hats. We've got just hats, 5-year anniversary hats. Make sure you talk to one of us. We'll get you set up with our merch. Shout out to National Fleet Graphic, Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for the stickers, and shout out to our guy, Will Rattel, W2 Performance, www.w2performance.com. Make sure you check him out on the social medias and on YouTube as well, especially most of his videos come from there as well. Make sure you check out the Brotherly Ballers podcast with our guy, Tyler Hermann and Jack Vickers. They're doing some great stuff with their fantasy football and whatnot. So make sure you check those guys out every week. Make sure you check out TLS Performance. Troy Stoudemire Jr. doing some awesome stuff. Shout out to our guy as well. And make sure you check out the guys over at the Popcorn Bucket List, Nick Dahlhoff and Ryne Myhrberg as well. Omni Entertainment. Make sure you check those guys out on the socials and YouTube especially. So that's going to do it for episode 257. Voldy, the Wolves play in about almost 20 minutes here. I forgot to do this when we were talking Wolves, but before we get to anything, acknowledge your tribal chief, Nazreid. Do it. Get the finger up. Acknowledge your tribal chief. Will it be a great game tonight for Nazreid? It will be, because we acknowledge our tribal chief, that being Nazreid. Let's go. And Ant and all the rest of the guys too, if he's playing, that being. So, Wolves tonight, Vikings tomorrow. Wild are playing, I think, tonight as well. They're playing the Devils, aren't they? Or is that tomorrow? Oh, okay, it is tonight. Okay.
They're currently playing, and they're currently losing to the
son of a bitch. Well, hopefully they can come back. Who knows? We'll take a look at it. So we'll be back next week. Have some more fun. Hopefully it's in a Vikings win, a Wolves win, and a Wild win. Every Minnesota team. So make sure you check us out on the socials. Keep following us on our backup account. Still waiting on word on the primary. So thank you for everyone who has followed us on the backup account. We appreciate it. And more fun to come. So get those picks in, fantasy football, the whole deal. So with that being said, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.